Good evening, I'm Dan Rather, and I want to do something new for you right now. It's called Evening News, and it goes a little something like this.
Good evening, I'm Hannah Stowe, and you're unsure of what happened today, but I've got the evening news, so we should get along just fine. Go.
Good evening, I'm Arianna Reynolds, and I've got so much news in me I could taste it.
Good evening, I'm Simeon. Now when I say evening, I want you all to say news. Evening!
News!
Evening!
News!
Good evening. Today we will be talking about the news and the kinds of jobs that you can get there. One area that you can specialize in newscasting is being a broadcast news analyst. Their job is to analyze information and opinion to attempt to create a story that depicts the current events in whatever area they specialize in. They can either work as a newscaster or just as a story creator, whose work is then broadcasted by another. They can also be sent to collect information and try to piece together events as they happen. However, many can also be called to be regular broadcasters or moderators for panels and discussions they have expertise in. They can also be called to interview guests that appeared to contribute to a certain story. The educations and skills required to attain such a position is a bachelor's in journalism or communications related degree. Experience interning in a news station or working for a school radio is also highly valued. The ability to work highly irregular hours and meet tight deadlines is very highly valued because of the stresses of the job. Not only that, it is also important to have a pleasing voice and appearance and a high familiarity with word processing software. The median salary in 2015 was $65,530 annually, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the Office of Occupational Statistics and Employment Projections. The job forecast, unfortunately, it is a decline of 13% for news analyst jobs between 2014 and 2024. This will ensure the job competition will become increasingly difficult and that many more will be rejected than those hired. This is a result of the losing commercial revenue that traditional news organizations are receiving.
Oh, is that it?
Sorry.
Thank you, Simeon. Now I'm going to talk to you about reporters. Many of us have grown up watching the news and seeing reporters on TV early in the morning, late at night, and every time in between. But have we ever thought about what these reporters actually do? What is their job? A reporter's job is to gather news information and keep the public informed about events around the world. But they do more than just sit in front of a camera behind a desk. They actually go out and they research. They go to natural disasters and they go to national events. They dig deep. They interview and they travel to find out as much information as possible. Then they take all the information that they have learned and they sift through it to find out what is the truth. And they go to reliable sources to get the best information and bring it to us. This is also not the easiest or most attainable job. Reporters cannot walk out of high school or even just out of a 4-year degree and expect to get a job, but they must go through years of schooling and work their way up to being a great reporter. News reporters typically earn a bachelor's degree in journalism or mass communications. Following this degree, most of the time they go after a master's degree for advancement. Also, in order to help themselves better prepare, they may do internships in the field that will give them the kind of training that they need to be successful. Also, news reporters work other places than just in front of a camera, is what we see. They work for newspapers, magazines, and radios. Also, receiving this education does not ensure them the job. But the higher education that one has, the higher pay that they get. It is common that those who have more experience in their job, from 10 to 15 years, then they make $109,000 a year, which is a pretty good amount. In order to get the job that they may want, they usually have to have both degrees that I mentioned previously and several internships, not just one. They also have to find the field that specializes in what they interned in, apply for the job when it is open, and work hard to keep it. Reporting is certainly not an easy job to get, and is not an easy job to do well in. But the salary that they receive on average is certainly worth it. On average, news reporters can earn $45,120 a year, while the highest paid reporters make over $78,530 a year. Each individual's salary depends on who they are working for, as well as how long they are with that specific company. According to Glassdoor.com, Fox News reporters make anywhere from $69,000 a year to $78,000 a year. Also on this website, it shows a handful of reporters make more than that. The highest few paid reporters are paid about $109,000 a year. While most reporters are not making millions of dollars, they are still doing a great service to the nation. Almost everyone in the nation has, at one time or another, sat down to listen to these reporters and know what is happening around us. Therefore, reporters will always be needed and valued around this nation. This is a useful job in coming years because of the ability to change and move with the job. In order to stay connected with the news around the world, we as a nation should pay attention to it. In this particular business, there is a large opportunity to openly share the love of God. Being in this position allows one to share their faith and testimony with those around them by simply living out their faith. That is why we need more Christian reporters in the nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. Hey guys, it's Arianna Reynolds, correspondent here. I am live at the Jerry Falwell Junior Library on Liberty University's campus to bring you the information you need to hear. Buckle up, you're in for a treat. According to americasjobexchange.com, a correspondent is a person who is responsible for gathering and reporting on news and information. They are also responsible for keeping the public informed about breaking news and ongoing events, not only in the local area, but internationally as well. Some other roles that correspondents have include, but are not limited to, conducting interviews, describing background and details of events, fast-checking sources and information, writing, editing, and revising body copy for articles, and reporting on specialized fields such as medicine, science and technology, politics, foreign affairs, sports, consumer affairs, business, religion, crime, and education. I know it may seem like a lot, but it's one of the most fun careers that you could possibly get plugged into. Correspondents do not solely work on television broadcasting networks, but they also can do work through the radio, newspapers, online newspapers as well, and magazines. Overall, their role is to deliver important information to their viewers in a way that they will be able to comprehend and understand. Now, what training do you need to go through to achieve getting this job? Typically, people who wish to pursue a career in being a correspondent attain a bachelor's degree in journalism and communications. It is also a good idea, if you would like to do this with your future, that you get plugged in with your college paper, broadcast network, or radio station. For print and online publications, typically entry-level positions include staff writer and copy editors. How much does it pay? In May of 2016, reporters and correspondents earned a median annual wage of about $37,820. The top 10% earned more than $86,610. So basically, the longer that you're in the field, the more money that you will make. New England College says that because of the popularity of the internet in the past few years, the readership and viewership for traditional media organizations will fall by 8% from 2014 to 2024. However, with that being said, there is a bright side. If someone chooses to go into this field, they should rather consider going into the smaller market, like a local newspaper or anything online would work too, because like I said, technology is a huge part of today's society. Well, that's it all for today, folks. I will now pass this to Sydney with spiritual aspects. Thank you.
Thank you, Arianna. Now I will be talking about the spiritual aspects of the news. The media is rarely kind to religion, especially Christianity. Some would even say the media has almost no redeeming qualities since it is known for twisting stories. The Christian community might even say that it is because the media lacks Christian principles that injustices like this happen. If the press would address religious aspects, perhaps this would bring comfort to those struggling to grasp the terrible instances that happen on the earth. People continually ask why terrible things happen, and even if the Bible can't explain it, it can provide peace. David Broder, a former political reporter for the Washington Press, acknowledges that although religion plays a part in all political campaigns, reporters look on it with suspicion. Directly, he says, it's not a central aspect in the culture of the newsroom, so we tend to view it through a screen, I think, in part ignorance and in part skepticism. From these encounters, it can be reasoned that the media rejects Christianity because they are not able to fully grasp the concept of Christ and they don't wish to understand. However, this does not pertain to all reporters and media. Some may have a religious foundation, but choose not to discuss it publicly. Paul Wilkes elaborates on this by saying, religion and spirituality are not things that polite people talk about these days. And so reporters, often suppressing their own spiritual confusion and hunger, are strained to pave over their feelings in this very sensitive area and want to convince the world and that small, barely audible voice within that they can handle it like any other news story. Fear of possible rejection from the media and as a whole from the public can cause reporters and correspondents to avoid discussing their faith. Although it seems this industry lacks Christian principles, a truly good, diligent reporter will not shy away from God's calling in this field. The Bible says, "How beautiful in the mountains are the feet of those who bring good news, who proclaim peace, who bring good tidings, who proclaim salvation, who say to Zion, your God reigns." Those who go into the world and proclaim the good news will find favor with God. The media does not always share the good news. However, God teaches us to look for the good in the world and try spreading it. One example of a news reporter who is out in the world serving the Lord is our own Liberty alum, Shannon Bream. She's an anchor for American News Headquarters and America's Election Headquarters. Bream is an outspoken Christian woman who has managed to stay true to her faith and thrive in her field. Although another Bible verse pertaining to this topic is 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15. Do your best to present yourself to God as one approved, a worker who has no need to be ashamed, rightly handling the word of truth. Christians should focus on the acceptance of Christ before that of public opinion, because ultimately it doesn't matter what the world thinks of you, but what God thinks of you. The media is given a very important, influential platform. If Christians and media are willing to speak out about their faith on the air, then more individuals might come to Christ. This doesn't mean reporters and correspondents need to preach a sermon on air. Just make the message of Christ known and appropriate. It is a part of our task as Christians to spread the word of God and open doors for individuals who do not know the Lord. People who work in the news have an opportunity to reach even more people and do the Lord's work. Tragedies like war, famine, and poverty all plague the earth due to the fall of man. However, God's beauty still exists, and it takes Christians in the newsroom to find it. Thank you.
Bloopers!
You get tuition! You get tuition! You get student loans! Yes! Watching the news and seeing the...
What? Was that the background? Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, this would have been much nicer to film that. Oh no.